conversation last night, and even though I was looking a mess, I kind of touched a couple things that I needed to touch on my channel. Um, and I felt like, why not just come in again today and do the same thing we was doing yesterday? I'm not using the light. I'm not using the tripod because it's not. I need a different angle anyway. But first, let me check and see if y'all can hear. If y'all can actually hear me. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Okay, you can. Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
I don't know if you can hear me or not. Okay, you can. Okay, perfect. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Okay.
And it's echoing for some reason. But we're gonna do the same thing we was doing yesterday. I'm gonna try not to look at the camera as much. I'm just cleaning my room up, and we're going to continue to talk about challenges with being an influencer and the YouTube guidelines and how they have changed compared to when I first started a couple years ago, and how it has made things a little bit more difficult for people, small time YouTubers, who were doing things just to get themselves active in the algorithm. Okay. Like I said, I had to restart my entire channel when it comes to content, because when I first started my YouTube channel, it was a little bit, well, I was a little bit naive to not knowing what was allowed on YouTube and what is, how you say, authentic content. Okay. I was never one that was into social media at a younger age. Even me and my relationships, we had things against like social media websites. So I didn't know the differences when it came to authenticity and being an influencer in itself. So a lot of the content that I made was fun, and a lot of my viewers liked the fun content. But when it came down to it, my channel really cracked down, not on me, but I'm quite sure they cracked down on other influencers on what they allow on their channel. And I don't pretty much say that everyone that watches me was gaslighting me. Um, they might have liked the content, but even if I am interacting or acting out someone else's character, whether it would be a movie or another influencer, it kind of made my video inauthentic because of the fact that I was using someone else's content to lip sync or read things. Which is kind of messed up because I put a lot of work into the content that I made for the past couple years. And I figured I was getting out of the seriousness of being an influencer, which took a lot of the load of it off for me. If I had people who were actually having fun, that were watching the video, that were remembering certain type of movies and scenes and things like that, I thought that it would be fun for people to engage with. Let me say that, okay? So it kind of did take all of the fun out of it when YouTube say, "Oh no, it's inauthentic because you're wording it," or take for instance the green screens. We brought that up last night too. How they allow us to do green screens over the past. I think it was like 2 years ago that they allowed the green screens to happen. If not 2 years, maybe a year and 6 months. They set everybody up with green screens. Okay. They allow you to do the green screen, but the problem with the green screen is that you can still be inauthentic because you're using someone else's video. There are certain stipulations for you to do the green screen and everything. So not only did I have green screen videos that I talked through, I showed my face. I didn't just like steal anyone's content. Most of them, they were like interacting videos, and I think the interacting videos caught a lot of flack too lately on YouTube. Your interaction videos, it has to be a certain type of interaction that goes on. When I get it, you'll know, okay? But apparently you just cannot use someone else's content and put your face on it, whether you're talking through it or not. Hello, whether you're talking through it or not, it's still kind of inauthentic because of the fact that they see someone else's face. Or you can have an influencer, or you can have a movie star or a TV star that comes into your video, not because that you look like them, but because you use their name. You don't even have to at someone. You don't even have to hashtag their name sometimes. I think sometimes it's the hashtag that will show up in their algorithm. And once they see it and they clock it, they automatically are going to write you off as inauthentic. Okay? Then nowadays, it's not even a human that is checking your channels to see if you are an authentic influencer. It's AIs that are checking. Okay, so I don't know how they have the artificial intelligence checking you, but they're checking for the content. I think it's facial structure, like how they do with the iPhone nowadays. A lot of times you can open your phone with a click and it reads your face. So I'm thinking, call it a hunch, call it a wild hunch, since I've been doing influencing for a while and I've learned how to program some AIs, not fully, but I've learned to program some of them, that they are actually reading your face in the video. So it becomes a challenge when you're an influencer and you're trying to make content for people to go by. Okay, then again, being a content creator can be very expensive nowadays. I didn't notice that when I first started doing my content journey, maybe like 8 or 9 years ago. And like I said in my last video, I never thought that I was going to do influencing. I would never thought that I would be an influencer. But because of the fact that I had an entire business, I was told, hey, you're supposed to put your products on social media. You're supposed to connect with your buyers. You're supposed to connect with people to know what type of product that you're selling and whatnot. Like I said, I was naive to the influencing game. So I didn't know that there were so many different particular guidelines when it comes to it. And then once again, like I also stated, that I was an introvert before people even know what an introvert was. Okay, so I was literally finding my way through the algorithm without breaking myself out of being the introvert, basically. Which is not easy. Okay, it is not easy, but People are going to push the fact that you need to be an influencer to be a business owner. Um, and I literally studied, once again, here we go again, about search engine optimization. When it comes to Google, when it comes to Facebook, Instagram, definitely YouTube, there is a search engine optimization to it. Regardless, that's how they're going to see you. Me having my own website, I had to create my own website on several different occasions, trying to figure out the best setup for a business owner. And then you will have your website, and then you're not getting any views for the website, so you got products. And then if you've not sold any before, you're kind of iffy on what to purchase, how much is actually worth purchasing, how much you should pay for it to be shipped to you, and what your buyers also are willing to pay for the product. So like it's a lot, when you say, okay, I want to be a business owner, I want to go into business for myself. I had no idea when I first started it that it would be, literally, as stressful as I thought, it would be. But yeah, it's very much so that. I also stated in my last video that I would probably be as knowledgeable as I am if I had to pay thousands of dollars and went to school for business. Okay. And I still feel like I would not have learned some of the things that I know now through failure. Okay. Of what not to do, what not to sell, what platforms not to work with, how much money should I not put into this business, and I haven't received a residual. Okay, that's the crazy part about it. Everybody says, you start the business. And I'm going to repeat myself again. They don't do nothing but make competition for you, because at the end of the day, they're going to tell you to start a business, but they're not going to tell you what it takes to start the business, because they're going to tell you, oh, you need to go to school for that. Oh, you need to pay someone to do that for you. You need to, what's wrong with you paying? But I feel like, me being a business owner, I should be able to do most of the work. If I'm hiring somebody to do the work for me, it's because I don't have the extra set of hands to do it myself. Okay. I feel like being a business owner, and you need to know your own search engine optimization. I mean, even if you're paying someone to set up your website and hook everything up, and I was a business owner, I would talk to the person who said, okay, so how did you do that? How did you do the search engine optimization? Can you walk me through this? Can you show me how you did that? So it's not as easy as everyone makes it seem. I say, start YouTube. YouTube is easy, this and that, or whatever. And like I said, there's always somebody there that is judging the wrong side of you, because they see you as an influencer. They're only judging you by what you post. That's the other tricky thing to it. If you want to be in the spotlight, it's like you have to really be very particular and careful of what you share or talk about, because people are so judgmental. The moment that you say something, it can be taken a certain type of way if it's not clarified fully. And people automatically, they're going to judge you off that one little thing, especially if they just came to your channel the first time, and for once, this is the first conversation that you were having about this this topic that they were interested in, and you may not have worded it correctly. Immediately they get into off with their head. Okay. off rip, they think, oh, she didn't say that right. This, da, 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 da. I'm not gonna buy her products. I don't like such and such and such and such. And da 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 da. I don't like how she said that. I'm gonna tell everybody that. Da 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 da. You know how we know how folks is. We gonna be honest, okay? We gonna be real. And like I said, I'm on live and I'm giving y'all the real me because I feel like for so long that I have been on my influencing journey, people have taken me completely incorrect because of the fact that I have been trying to hold back things, scared what people are going to judge me. Because I am an influencer, I will get them type of views, and then I know that if they don't agree with me, they will try to destroy my business or any product that I have to sell. And I haven't even got started yet, okay? That's the crazy part, but you haven't even seen what the product does. You don't know if the product actually work or not. But by me being coy with you, or I'm a little bit let's say I'm naive when it comes to social media, but I have done the research on the products that I'm supposed to purchase, okay? I've done the research. I know what does what. I'm not going to go into detail because I'm not going to just let you know the products that I do and what I make in order for my customers. I still keep that to myself, okay? There's reasons for that because I've been doing this for so long that I'll look up and somebody just snatched my idea and I said, wait, I just talked about this a couple months ago or last year, and not everybody doing it. So that's another thing about being an influencer, because you have to keep what your ideas basically to yourself too, but you want to connect with your customers. You want to connect with your influencers, your viewers, to let them know what you're selling is authentic, okay? So yeah, it's a lot, you know, and coming from an introverted space, it can be very challenging, okay? Being a business owner is not for the weak heart. Is not for the weak hearted. And I have noticed that most people that start, they quit, they stop, and I see why they stop, you know. A lot of times it becomes stressful, but me myself, whatever I'm doing on YouTube, it's my passion, okay? I have a passion for it. If I chose it and to use it as an influence, and that means I do it as an everyday life. I do this literally. I have learned this from trial and error. Just like anybody else would tell you, I have learned this because I have messed up so many times that I know what not to do. Okay? I may still be learning on what to do, but I have messed up so many times. At this point, I know what not to do. And I think that kind of counts. I think that really does count. It says a lot because, like, and I also said at this point, y'all gonna be learning from me and my mistakes of what I did that I should have known when I started about 7 to 8 years ago. You know, I want to say 10, but I haven't been a full LLC for the whole 10 because I said, hey, 2 to 3 years in the game, somebody said, hey, you don't have an LLC, that's your name, you haven't patented yet, you know, so nobody can just steal your name and do. They might make different versions of it, but you can't sue them for that because it has parts of your business name in there. It may be a different version of it. That's the trick to it. Okay? But they can't use your name. And that keeps you from going through any legal issues if somebody try to sue you to say, hey, this was inauthentic, because we know people do it. They try to do their get rich scheme. They feel like you making money, so they want to, you know, do some type of scheme on you. So That's what I've learned. I've taken that is what the LLC itself is for. If you want to sue me, you can't sue me, but you have to sue my business. You may not win, but that keeps that off of my name for you trying to unlawfully sue me because you're looking for a come up. Okay? People can hide behind the screen and be so mean. Yeah, people can be horrible. I noticed that. I'm sorry, love. I'm not trying to ignore you. Yeah, people can be very horrible. Um, and then some of them, they really don't have nothing to do with themselves. Sometimes when they on social media, they, in between work, they finna go to work in a minute, or it's a good day, they finna go shopping, so they want to come to your channel and start some mess. You gotta be ready for it. At me being more mature now, me being older, I acknowledge that now. At first, when I first started being an influencer, oh, what was me? I used to get upset. I'm sensitive. I'm a Cancer. My birthday is this month. I'm sensitive. Oh, oh, what was me? Why you did that? But I had to get over that. And I literally had to put my thug fizzle on like I would do in my regular life for my social media, because for some reason they feel like as an influencer I can't cuss. It's a lot of stuff that I can't say. But I just feel like I gotta do my thug fizzle when it comes to social media, because y'all be taking me for being fake and inauthentic. Okay? That's not me. You know what I'm saying? I don't never try to be inauthentic. I'm not gonna sell nobody no dream, no lies or anything like that. I shared last night of my first issues with the first couple amounts of products that I was selling, to when I decided that I didn't want to sell hair no more. Everybody was doing it. Everybody was selling bundles. And that's the most irritating thing, is because everybody was selling bundles. And like I said, don't nobody take offense to this, but most of y'all was still going to the Chinese people's beauty supply and getting y'all bundles behind the counter because you didn't want to support black business. I'ma say it. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. A lot of them, for a long time, they were so envious with each other, they refused to support black business. So you'll go to the corner store beauty supply and spend more, because the girl down the street that sell hair at a good price, and you probably can't even find the hair nowhere else, but you say, oh, I don't like her, for whatever reason you didn't like her, but she's black like you. But whatever reason you didn't like her, you went to the corner store and you spent double. You see what I'm saying? And her quality might be better than the beauty supply store, because when you go to the beauty supply, especially when it comes to the frontals and things like that, this is about influencing. I'm trying to stay on track, but there's a reason behind what I'm saying. When you go to the beauty supply, some of that stuff is very in bulk, type of shipped stuff that they say, oh, we just need any type of quality to sell them. But when you come to a business owner like me, or a hair seller, no matter what type of hair seller it is, they go through whether the hair is a 9A grade. They go through their lengths. They go through the lace texture, the tone of the lace. Okay, but like I said, you can't find those into the beauty class. I want to slow down because I'm trying to get to the point that I'm getting to. Because as an influencer, people judge you still on how you present yourself. Okay? Just because I didn't do debates in high school or college or something like that doesn't make me the type of person that I can just, I can debate and I can be a top seller on whatever product that I sell. Most people don't have it like that. That is a skill that you have to acquire, let me say that. It's a skill that you have to acquire to be an upseller and to know how to deal with customers to a certain extent in order for you to keep your business and your brand a certain look of it. Okay? And if you're naive to that fact when you first start a business, you're literally going to be oblivious to any of that. Especially if you're a good person, you would never think that people look at you and judge you that way as a person and also compare your product to it. You can be a very good person, but you being said one thing that we're not even gonna go on to the spiritual or the religious fact, because we keep that out of business completely. Because when you get into that, oh, I didn't like what she said, I'll never buy such and such from her, and da 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 da. You know how messy they be. They be messy. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you selling to your own community. You're selling to your own community, and you think that being on social media is going to be anything different. It's not, because as an influencer, most of them are giving you a certain type of vibration that is keeping you from seeing all of the real life struggles that they going through. They are emitting a certain type of vibration to you, to where they make you believe that they are the top seller. They have the best product. How you doing? They have the best product. You would prefer to buy from them than you would anyone else, compared to someone else who's actually sat down and done the research, that has looked up each product. Like, them book students, them ones that sit down, that are really quiet, that have learned a lot about the product, that have tested it, pulled it through the ringer before they sold it, might be a little bit more influential. I want to say that their product will really more so work compared to somebody who could just upsell something to you. That's what they teach you at work. They tell you, are you upselling? Are you trying to sell that? You ever been a waitress? Are you trying to sell those orange juices? Are you making that a full meal? Are you telling them to bring the lobster up to a 40-pound instead? They're upselling something to you, okay? Compared to someone who has actually did the work and the research for it, okay? And I get it. Now that I've been in the influencing and selling game for so long, I can realize that most of the times that I was more naive, more gullible when I first started influencer social media. Maybe I shouldn't say that on my platform, because everybody's going to judge me and they're not going to buy my product. So I was so intimidated. I was in my shell. I'm not gonna lie, when it came to being an influencer, because I had already started my business when I started influencing. I had already started my business. I had already said, I want to be a business owner, and somebody said, hey, you need to be an influencer in order to push your products to your customers. But they're not going to tell you the dangers of being an influencer and you have products and you're also an LLC, because you could say one thing wrong and they could deem your products unpurchasable. They could, they'll blacklist you. We just gonna be honest. Even our own community, with it, even when the African American community, and I'm not, like I said, this is not racist, or I'm not biased against anybody, but when I first started my business, I catered to my own community because of the texture of hair that I have. I'm into beauty. Okay, I'm a braider. I've been braiding hair has been a family gift. We used to braid each other's hair as teenagers. You know what I'm saying? So it's a family gift. Okay, I braid. I'm a specialist with 4C hair. Okay, therefore, if I have any products, it usually tends to something that I would use for myself, because it's been tested and it's been tried by me. And then, of course, I have a homegirl or somebody whose hair I've done, and I have, videos of them saying, "Oh, I tried this oil that Janae made, and I used to have hair 3 inches. Now I can put my hair in a ponytail." Like I have videos like that. Like I make oils as well. Okay, so anything that I tend to do is for the African American community. That's who I'm catering to. Not saying that later down the line I won't make an oil that is less heavy for someone who can't handle that weight of oil on their hair. I'm not saying that in the future I would never come up with a product like that, because I could see myself making a lightweight oil that you really don't have to wash out. Okay? But yeah, we're getting back to the influencing, because that's a whole nother video topic, so I want to not touch that as much. Okay, but we're talking about the dangers of being an influencer and a business owner. They mix. You just have to know what you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to ruin yourself. I'm just going to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, a lot of my viewers probably thought I was fake, because I've been doing more of the fun stuff. I've been doing, the interacting movies with Tyler Perry and, all the stuff that we grow up watching, with Nutty Professor, Respucia from Norbit. I did all those because I felt like it was fun. Okay, I felt like people would want to see stuff like that on my channel, and it more so connects to my community. Okay, it is what it is. Either you see that as something fun, either you don't. But I had to remove those videos from my YouTube because those were the reasons why I was not making any money. Those were the reasons why I was not making any money, because I was being too funsy with my content. So it kind of deemed it to be, how you say, inauthentic. But it's hot again. Y'all know we in Georgia. Everybody gone. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to do some more reviews on some other things. And I'm going to talk about different challenges on my channel as we go. You guys have a good day. I'm going to come back later. Bye.